How's it going? My name is Mulder and welcome to our Minecraft Dungeons gameplay tips and tricks video. In this Minecraft Dungeons tips and tricks video, I'll tell you where you can spend your emeralds and why it's important to collect as many as you can and hold on to them at least after the first few missions of the game, what area you should travel to first to start getting some great loot and get a lot of emeralds, what enchantments to my weapons and armor I'm focusing on right now at the start of the game, and finally how to take down your first two bosses against the Evoker and the Corrupted Cauldron. All that and more straight ahead. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for a lot more. And now without further ado, let's dive into our Minecraft Dungeons gameplay tips and tricks video.
Well, not that one. But maybe you.
Let's talk about emeralds first. You will be able to collect emeralds from everything from defeating enemies and opening up chests, along with breaking down items you collect along your journey. Try to see if you can hoard as many of these emeralds as you possibly can until at least after you've completed your first two missions in the game. The reason why I say that is you're going to run into two individuals at your camp who are going to want your emeralds in exchange for some loot. The Blacksmith will require up to 89 emeralds in order for you to get any weapons from him, and the Wandering Trader, which will give you artifacts along with some other weapons himself, will ask for 178 emeralds. Now that doesn't sound cheap, but I do have an area you can go exploring to first at the start of the game where you can get up to 1300 emeralds by the time you're done. That area is the Creepy Crypt. Once you're done with the two starting missions, immediately head to the Creepy Crypt for your first area to explore. You will find between level 9 and 14 rare and unique items scattered throughout the entire area, provided you go to every single place and look for loot along with chests. Bear in mind that the game will not notify you or show with you on the map until you're literally on top of a chest. And sometimes chests will randomly just pop out of the ground because you went over and explored that one little spot. Try to discover every single place you can on the map that you're running around in. You never know when a chest is going to pop out of the ground. A nice side tip, also keep your eyes open for pigs running around with chests on their back. These pigs, once spotted, will make a run for it. Try to take them down with your bow from a distance, or if you're close enough, use your melee weapon. Once they're taken down, they'll not only be dropping emeralds, but they'll also be dropping some rare loot, along with maybe a powerful artifact. Speaking of loot, let's talk about those enchantments you can attach to them. In the game, you'll have 3 primary slots where you can attach both armor, a bow, and a melee weapon, along with 3 slots that you can attach artifacts into. Now, artifacts so far from what I've discovered do not have any enchantments on them whatsoever, but your bow, melee weapon, and armor do. For me personally, I'm focusing on right now with my bow, which I have a twin bow attached right now, for multi-shot. Anytime I get a rare bow or crossbow, I want to see if I can unlock a multi-shot. This is very useful for me because you're going to be surrounded by enemies multiple times. The higher the difficulty you go up, and the more areas you explore, the more tough the enemies are going to be. This multi-shot not only comes in handy when you're playing solo, but also when you're playing with a group of people. The more times you upgrade the multi-shot or double shot enchantments, the more powerful these shots are going to be. Next up is armor, which I currently have the archer's armor equipped with surprise gift. Surprise gift has come in handy for me, especially during one of my boss battles. Every time I use a health potion, I will often sometimes drop a consumable. These consumables can also boost my character's damage or speed depending upon what randomly drops. These are especially useful during some boss battles or when you're just flat out surrounded by multiple enemies. As for weapons, I used a sword earlier that had the Prospector enchantment on it. The Prospector enchantment automatically allows me to gain extra emeralds after random drops from taking down multiple foes. The more emeralds you get, the better off you're going to be. But right now I'm using my favorite weapon called the Venom Glaive with Thundering enchantment on it. The Thundering enchantment allows me to summon lightning to the ground randomly during the midst of combat. As for the artifacts I'm running right now at the start of the game, one of them is called Fireworks Arrow, which every single time I activate this and fire my next set of arrows, they automatically turn into fireworks and explode on impact. Tasty Bone, which summons a cute cuddly wolf at my side who not only gets to attack enemies and take them down pretty quickly, but it's just nice to have a little extra companion running around, and who doesn't want to have a wolf? And finally, Corrupted Beacon. I got the Corrupted Beacon from the Wandering Trader, and this thing is absolutely insane to use. How it works is that every single time you take down an enemy, its soul gets sucked into the beacon. Once you have enough souls gathered into the beacon, you can use the beacon to shoot a beam of energy towards any target you see, either a boss or multiple foes, and take them down pretty quickly. Now last but not least, let's talk about those 2 boss battles you're going to run into shortly into the game. Now you do have the option to jump into any of these areas at your own leisure. I'll be talking about the 2 boss battles that you're going to encounter in the Pumpkin Pastures and Soggy Swamps. In Pumpkin Pastures, you're going to run into the Invoker at the end of the map. The Invoker has 2 special attacks. The first is that he will summon little fairy minions to come at you and attack you while you're fighting him, up to 4 in total. This is where if you're lucky enough to have the Tasty Bone, summon your wolf companion to try to attack those fairies, or at least have their attention drawn to him, that way you make your run to the Invoker. The second attack the Invoker does does is that he will summon these giant jaws or bear traps out of the ground to come at you and snap or try to defend himself with them. Anytime the Evoker automatically lifts up his arms, that means he's about to cast one of his spells. The moment he does this, immediately roll out of the way in the general direction that he's aiming with his arms and you should be safe. Do not try to fight the Evoker at a distance. His spells usually focus on trying to hit you from a distance along with his fairies chasing after you. Close the distance with the Evoker with your melee weapons, summon your wolf if you have one to keep the fairies busy, or at the very least use your fireworks arrows to do damage to him up close. Roll dodge or do a quick sprint to get out of the way every time he lifts up his arm to cast a spell and you'll take him down in no time. Now let's talk about the Corrupted Cauldron, which you'll face at the end of the map in Soggy Swamps. Now the Corrupted Cauldron might be a little bit more tricky to take down than the Invoker was. Once you've done even a little bit of damage to the Corrupted Cauldron, immediately you'll start to summon these corrupted cubes onto the ground, in which case they'll start shooting at you from a distance. These cubes will be summoned endlessly, so the best way to do this is to keep your distance from the cauldron, take out the cubes that land in your area, and just shoot the cauldron from a distance with your bow. If you have a Corrupted Beacon like I did, use that. It does a massive amount of damage to the cauldron, along with your fireworks arrow. If you have Tasty Bones, summon your wolf to keep the attention of those angry cubes that are shooting at him instead of you. Don't bother trying to attack the cauldron with your melee weapon. After a few moments, the cauldron will immediately start to spit fire down on the ground around it, keeping it safe, along with the fact that if the closer you are with the cauldron, the more of those cubes are going to be gathered around you. Keep your distance, use your bow and a Corrupted Beacon if you can, or at the very least your fireworks arrow, and you'll take down the cauldron in no time. And that's all I have for today for our first Minecraft Dungeons gameplay tips and tricks video. Be sure to stick around because we'll be doing a new Minecraft Dungeons gameplay tips and tricks part 2 very soon. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe for a lot more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon.